let's start with this. This is all anonymous, so you do not have to worry. You can be brutally honest. How would you rate my session so far? I'll give out free consultations for a 9 or a 10. For a 4 or 5, sorry. Okay, let's get this up to 10. Come on, team 5, let's go. Okay, whoever went for a 3, we need to have a talk. I'm joking. All right, great. Thanks, guys. Cool. All right. So what we're covering in the second half. So we're going to look at what PLG is and in relation also to other growth motions. We're going to look at pricing and how that plays into your PLG. We're going to look at qualification and potentially some PLG metrics. All right. So when you're looking at your growth motions, you can look at this in terms of three types of motions. Let's say you have product-led, you have marketing-led, and sales-led. So with product-led growth, what you're doing here is the way that you're acquiring customers and doing expansion and retention is coming from the value and the usability, the value of the product that the user is experiencing with the product and the usability, and also probably the virality of the product. Okay, so the thing that's driving the acquisition here is the usage of the product, the value that they're receiving, and the virality of it. With marketing-led motions, the acquisition of customers and expansion and retention is coming from targeted marketing efforts and customer insights. So things like PR campaigns, paid media, SEO, outbound, those kinds of things, right? So marketing, social media activity, marketing-led activities that basically are driving your acquisition. And then finally, with sales-led, the thing that's bringing you customers and expansion and retention is all coming from sales processes, right? And building relationships with prospects. Now, in most cases, you wouldn't necessarily have to have only one of these. And the reality is that you're going to have a combination. But for sure, one of these is going to stick out. For some companies rely more on, for example, marketing led. Other companies rely more on sales led. Other companies rely more product led. Right. So you'll see some variance there. Now, the application of these growth motions, if we take the application of these growth motions on the three components of the growth model, if you guys remember, we had acquisition, retention, and monetization. So acquisition is how you bring new users, retention is how you continuously retain them, and monetization is how you get them to pay you money. Now, if you look at these three growth motions and how they relate to each one of these levers, let's take acquisition as an example. With product-led, what's happening here is that the users that come to your product are the ones that are bringing you users, right? So the acquisition is mainly coming from the user. So things like virality and loops, acquisition loops, and all of that. With marketing led, the acquisition is coming from users that you are capturing on third-party platforms, ads, SEO, social media, all that. With sales led, your acquisition is coming from outbound prospecting to buyers, right? So whether it's cold calling, outbound email, outbound LinkedIn. When we look at retention, product led in retention, basically the usage triggers more usage. So the more someone uses the product, the more they are going to continuously using it. With marketing-led activities, how it basically drives retention is through educating users. Right? So the education is the thing that triggers usage. Right. So you're sending out how-to videos, you're doing webinars, you're doing all these kinds of things to continuously retain them. With sales-led motions, something that would basically drive retention would be things like quarterly business reviews, right? So you do a presentation every quarter with your customer and present basically what you guys have done. That's one way of retaining users through sales-led motions. And finally, with monetization, with product-led, it's purely almost entirely self-serve purchase. So the user by themselves, they are the ones that go to the product and decide to switch from a free a trial, let's say, or a free plan to a paid plan. With marketing, you're building monetization awareness. So again, you're creating some campaigns to, to maybe highlight the paid features of your product. And then with sales led, of course, you're closing deals, right? So you sit with a prospect, you meet with them, and you sign a deal together. So you see how the every growth motion affects these different components of the growth model in different ways. Now, if you look at in a lot of cases, and this is again, this is not set in stone, and these are not hard rules. But if you look at the different types, sizes of companies, right? So depending on the prospects that you're going after, whether it's SMB or mid-market or let's say small businesses or mid-market or enterprise. So assuming here that the definition of a small business is, let's say, employee headcount from 1 to 100, mid-market from 100 to 1,000, enterprise from 1,000 plus. Of course, it's all mainly B2B, or an average contract value up to 10,000. Yeah, these are average contract values. So you'll see that the primary motion typically for these, in the case of a small business, product-led can be the primary motion, right? And in a lot of cases, you'll find that for a small business, if the primary motion is product-led, of course, it's scalable and less costly and all of that. Mid-market also product-led can work well. In the case of enterprise, the primary motion might be sales-led. So again, there are cases where you can do product-led for enterprise, and we're going to talk about that in the coming slides. But in the vast majority of cases, you'll find that the sales team has to intervene in the case of an enterprise account. But again, you have secondary motions here, right? So in the case of an SMB, you can have sales at the marketing led, etc. But this is just how you look at primary versus secondary motions for the different use cases. And in terms of payment, you'll see also that because these guys are product led, you'll see that it can easily be self-serve fully for small businesses. You don't have to have a sales rep speaking to, let's say, a company with 5 employees, trying to get them to monetize. And in a lot of cases, you can do that through self-serve. With mid-market enterprise, most of the payment or monetization might come through sales deals. So your sales team would have to sit with the prospect and close deals. So I'd like to ask you is which one of these, which growth motion are you relying more on at the moment? Right? So again, you can be doing a combination of all three or two of them, or you can be just doing one of them, but which one is the one that you're using the most currently? Yeah, let's try and get this to 15. One more. Okay, we have a tie between product and sales led. Okay, one more. Come on, guys. You can do this. No? Okay. All right. Cool. So with PLG so again, if you wanted to do this in very simple terms, so let's look now closely at product-led growth specifically. So with PLG, what you're trying to do is the following. You're trying to acquire users and you're trying to activate teams and you're trying to monetize companies. Okay. So you see here, we're going from small to bigger. Okay. So within a company, you want to acquire users, but then you want to activate teams. So I'll give you an example here. So let's say you're a procurement software. Okay. So you can acquire, let's say, a procurement manager, a procurement specialist within the company. So that's a user. Or let's say you can acquire two of them. And then you want to activate a team, right? So you want to activate a unit within that company. And then you want to eventually monetize the company. Okay. So you take it in those steps. Acquire user, one or two users, activate a team within that company, and then finally monetize the company. Okay. In most cases, a lot of companies do um, is that you have a free sign up or a free user coming or a lead. Okay, and then 10 minutes later, we're bombarding them with an email or a call or whatever it may be. Hey, are you ready to buy? What's your budget? Okay, so immediately going in and talking about sales and closing a deal, just literally 10 minutes later after someone just raised their hand, right? You do not want to do that. And a lot of companies do that, to be honest. You look at this, you have marketing teams that are generating leads, they throw them to sales. Sales immediately gets on a call and tries to sell. Okay, that's very, very common pattern. The reality is obviously these users are not ready. So the thing is with product-led motions, if you compare it to other motions like sales-led and marketing-led, is that with other motions, what happens is the following: monetization comes first, and then the user experiences the value. But with product-led, it's the other way around. The user has to first experience the value, not only just experience it once, but even experience it and gets to a habit and start referring it, etc. And then monetization comes later. Okay, so that's the one of the key differences, that with product-led, you're focusing on first getting that user to experience the value and get value from the product, and then you start talking about monetization and then paying you. Okay, and you see this with a lot of the companies that are very successful now. These guys like Slack and Intercom and Twilio and Shopify. What a lot of these guys have done is that they managed to uh, activate small units within companies, and these small units became avid users, very highly engaged users of the product. So they then started creating some form of network effect within the company. And that's one thing that you would want to consider, is that instead of going, let's say if you're doing whatever the acquisition channel, instead of going after the decision makers, so this is again in the context of B2B, instead of going after the decision makers, you might consider, in the case of a product-led motion, you would not necessarily go after decision makers, but you could go after end users, or people that would be using your product on a daily basis. Try and acquire these guys, get them to engage your product, right? Get them to use your product routinely, and they will become your champions within the company, right? They will be the ones that will champion your product when you start having discussions with the decision makers, right? So the decision maker doesn't have to be the entry point. You can, in the case of product led, you would actually go after the end users and grow from within the company. So let's take a look at an example. Let's see how Airtable, how they approach their product led motion. Okay, so Airtable, they have these plans here. So they have a free plan, $10 per user per month, $20 in enterprise. So the way that this works is the following: is that what they wanted to do is they wanted to give users time to get to know their product. Okay, so they wanted, when someone comes to Airtable, they want this user to be able to use the product without having to pay anything and truly understand the value, and then they can switch to a paid plan or later on start to monetize them. Okay, so again, give users enough time to get to know the product. Include a time window to explore the most advanced features, a short window to explore the most advanced features. So even though they have a free plan here, it's a free forever plan. So someone can use Airtable forever for free. But when they first come to Airtable, they get a free trial on the one of the most advanced plans, right? So on the pro plan. So that's a 14-day free trial. Okay, so just for 2 weeks, they get to use the most advanced features for free. And then once those 2 weeks pass, they get reversed to the free plan. So this is called reverse free trial. Right? You start on the most advanced plan for a couple of weeks or whatever duration is, and then after the 2 weeks pass, you don't stop their access. You automatically switch them to the free plan. So obviously the free plan has less features, right? So the free plan is sticky, but you gave them a taste for the awesome advanced paid plan, right? But still, you give them access to the product forever for free at limited with limited features. So let's look at some pricing examples here, because the free plan in a product-led motion is one of the things is one of the key factors. So one of the key levers. But this free plan has to be sticky enough for them to stay on the free plan, but also it needs to be teasing enough for them to not just stay on the free plan forever. Because I mean, the free plan users are still uh, they can be still useful and beneficial in other ways other than just paying you, because a free user can potentially refer other users, right? So there are other benefits that you can get out of a free user. But of course, you want to also try and get them to switch to a paid plan. So the free plan has to be sticky enough for them to stick around, but also it has to be teasing enough, right? And you need to be clearly showing them the paid plan that the paid features that they're missing out on, okay, as they're using the free plan. So let's look at some examples here. Fellow, they are a meeting management software. So here they offer a free plan for teams up to 10 people. Okay. So this is good. So for me as a user, I can go in, I can invite my colleagues, some of my colleagues up to 10. But if I want to invite more, then we have to pay. Okay. So what Fellow are doing here is that they are able to, with 10 people within a company, that's probably a team. So they are able to activate a team for free. You know, you can have an entire team within a company using Fellow for free. Now, this is great because let's say this is the marketing team, and let's say the marketing team wants to then start using Fellow with other teams in the company. So now you have this marketing team inside Fellow, literally are your champions inside the company. They will probably be doing the selling on your behalf to some extent, right? So obviously not exactly that, but the thing is, if you're able to get Fellow into their daily routine, then they'll be tempted to, okay, you also want the other departments to start using Fellow, then that's a sweet spot that you're trying to find here, is the number, what features to be available on the free plan. Let's look at Figma. So Figma, they have on the free plan, you can create up to 3 Figma files, but then you have unlimited collaborators. Now, this is important here because why didn't they go with unlimited Figmas but limited collaborators? So it was a conscious decision from on their end to say that our free plan is going to have only 3 Figma files, but unlimited collaborators. Now, this is important because for them, they understand that if for me as a user or a team in the company, and we create one Figma file, I want to be able to collaborate with as many people as I want, right? Because this is how I'm going to get value from the product. So if I'm able to get them to create 3 files with all the engagement they want with all collaborators, now they're at the point where we need more, right? We've seen the value with these 3 files. Now we want to create more files in Figma. So now they would be probably more willing to switch to a paid plan. Same thing with Miro here. You can create a single workspace with 3 editable boards, and Notion, you can invite up to 10 guests. Okay, so thinking about the free plan and what features go into the free plan is a constant um, optimization process, right? It's something that you're going to have to think about if you're considering having something like a free plan. Okay, now I'd like you guys to think of what can you offer your users to experience the value of your product before involving sales. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be a free trial or a free plan or whatever. It can be that, but also just think of what are you going to be offering them for them to experience the value before talking about monetization or All right. Who would like to present their input? Anyone? Okay, I'm gonna pick randomly then. Um,
I can.
Demo. Okay, okay, go for it. Go for it.
So
Oh, sorry. Sorry, my bad. Go on.
uh, kind reminder, what we do is digital concierge for hotels. So we do B2B. Only thing that we can offer for free is like demo for some period. And because we do a lot of things like if it's only, for example, ordering amenities, so we can make it for even 3 months for free. But if it's something that costs us something like food ordering or digital key or something, it's 1 month's demo. But it
Mhm.
should be like signed contract with demo period and then commercial terms uh,
Got it.
after that period.
Got it. Cool. Thanks for that, Idana. All right. Who else would like to go?
Yeah, maybe me. I'm Abdel Badi, and we provide actually an software for dentists, allow them to like a new software that we just released, allow them to share reports and consents with their patients. So what we did actually to let them get the value of the product, we add a page in our website where they can use the same features or they can use the software without sign in, without nothing, and generate one report with the same image. Like they cannot upload a new image, but they can use just the software for demo purposes to get the value of the software.
Mhm. Got it. Cool. Thanks. Let's take one more.
I can go.
Mhm.
Nice. We provide number of onboarding tools for efficiency and screening. And actually, when we started at the beginning, we were a freemium. We started as a freemium, and that was for two purposes. One is to want to see how people receive our product, how they use it. Number two, we wanted to train our model, and we needed a lot of users to use it. So the best way is to have it for free, and that will help us just get the user base that we want, in order to empower our product. But currently, what we do is totally premium. And what we do, we provide a demo followed up by a limited time trial. So to allow people to use the tool with the full functionality for a period of time. And
Mhm.
so they can feel by themselves the value that they might get out of this service.
Mhm. Got it. Thanks, Hamza. Arena had a question. Demo, isn't it a sales effort? Yeah, so I think with demos, if it's just getting on a call and showing them the tool, I wouldn't consider that as someone experiencing the value. But if someone is referring to demo in the sense that they would use kind of like a free trial, that they would actually use the product for, let's say, a month or a couple of months or so, or a couple of weeks or whatever it is, then in that case, it would be a good opportunity for them to experience the value. But just depends on how the term is used. If it's just getting on a call and showing them the product, I probably wouldn't consider that as, like you're saying, I wouldn't consider it as someone actually experiencing the value. All right. Cool. Thanks, guys, for all your input. Okay. Now, one thing that goes hand in hand with any product-led motion, because remember, with product-led, what you're doing is you're trying to get the user to experience the value first, before any monetization comes in, right? But the thing is, and this becomes even more important in the case of a freemium model, like where you have a free forever plan. Even within a free trial, so if you have, let's say, a month or two free trial, you still want to have qualification. But the idea of qualification is simply that you want a mechanism or a system that is able to tell you from all the users that are using your product for free, which is, or they're using it without paying, or even that even can extend beyond that. It can even extend to ones that are paying, but you want to upgrade them to a higher plan. So this actually can span across all users. But just for the sake of the discussion now, let's say that we're talking about the ones that are not yet paying you, right? So free users. You want a system in place to be able to pinpoint the ones that are more likely to buy from you at this point compared to anyone else. Okay. You can do that through qualification. I'm going to explain that in more detail now. So you can look at qualification on two levels. You can look at that on a user level, or on an account level. So again, in the context of B2B here, if you're a B2B company, you want to look at qualification on not just the individual user level, but also on an account level, right? So I get 1 sec. Just the charger. Okay. So you want to understand that, let's say you have 100 users, and those 100 users belong to 50 companies. You want to have the qualification on both the user level as well as the account level. Okay. And so from there, you'll have the following. You'll have, again, going back to product marketing and sales motions, you can have product qualified lead or product qualified account. You can have marketing qualified lead or marketing qualified accounts. You can have sales qualified lead or sales qualified account. Okay, so what does it mean for a user or an account to be qualified? If we look at the three growth motions again, product qualified lead or account means that they have experienced the aha moment through first-hand product experience. You know that they have experienced the value of the product. If it's marketing qualified, this means that they had some form of meaningful interaction with your marketing material, attended a webinar, downloaded something, filled out a form, whatever it may be. Sales qualified means that they have, for example, they've checked some criteria that your sales team has in place, right? So they fit your ICP criteria, or they fit some profile of the ideal customer profile that you have in place. So you have qualification on the three growth motions, right? The three levels. If you want to take a bird's eye view and come up with some form of kind of like an overarching strategy for your qualification, you can look at this in this way. So you have one axis, the vertical axis here. That's an axis of engagement. So on the very top, you have high engagement. On the very bottom, you have low engagement. The horizontal axis is a customer fit axis, right? How does this customer fit your ideal customer profile, fit your ICP? So on the left side is low, on the right side is high. So at any given point in time, the users that are on your product or the accounts, in the case of B2B, are going to fall into one of these four quadrants. Basically, they're going to fall somewhere in these four quadrants. So if you have a user or a company that are a low fit, so they don't really fit your ICP, and they have low engagement, okay, you can basically ignore those users, right? They don't fit your ICP and they have low engagement. Probably you don't need to put a lot of attention on these on this subset of users. Okay? If the users are low fit, right? So they don't exactly fit your ICP, but they have high engagement, you might want to rely on something like product notifications. Okay. So maybe sending them emails or push or things like that. Okay, let's look at the other side here. If you have a user or an account that is a high fit, so they fit your ICP, but they have low engagement, Okay, you can rely on product notifications along with the CS team, right? So you can have your, again, product notifications, sending them educational emails, sending them how-to guides, getting your CS team to get on a call with them, help them out through chat or through calling, whatever it may be. So getting that level of assistance so you can raise their levels of engagement. Now, here's the thing though, if you have a user or an account that fits your ICP, the high fit in your ICP, and they have high engagement, these guys are basically hand raisers. These guys are telling you, I'm a good fit and I'm highly engaged. You should hammer on these guys. You should immediately send your sales team and try to monetize these guys. Okay, whether it's to send your sales team or try to switch them to some form of paid plan or monetize them. Okay, and even if they're monetized, you might consider upgrading them to a higher plan. So this quadrant or this strategy is kind of, maybe not strategy, it's just a kind of like a method. It's an easy way for you to prioritize which subset of users you should go after or accounts, and basically what to do with the different subsets of accounts and users based on their customer fit or their ICP fit and the level of engagement. Okay, so in other words, you don't want your sales team going after this subset because it's a waste of their time. Okay, you don't want the sales team necessarily going after this subset because you can handle that maybe with product notifications. You don't have to have your sales team going after everyone, right? You want to reserve the time of your sales team to the most important subset of your users and accounts. And so going back to the product qualification. So like I said, you have user level qualification, product qualification, and you have account level product qualification. Okay. So again, product qualification is based on the activity that the user has inside your product. Okay. So when you have the meter or the sweet spot, which is the users in a company are engaging and having high levels of engagement. And also they work for a company that fits your ICP, right? And there's enough number of users in there that are engaging. This is basically the sweet spot where you should be going after that account and trying to monetize them. Okay, so again, this is all just different ways of how to qualify the users that are on your product. Now, the qualification, one easy way of qualifying users is using some scoring system. Okay, you guys might have heard of the idea of lead scoring. You can do that kind of scoring, again, on a user level or an account level. But you can split that into 3 buckets of scoring. So you have the ICP fit scoring, right? So this company, what industry does it belong to? So that's in the case of B2B. What's the industry? Where are they located? What's their headcount? What's the job title of the users that are using your product? So all of these things are basically dimensions or variables that you would score based on. Okay, and you can even drill deeper. So instead of just scoring the industry compared to the location, you can even drill inside the industry. Some industries would then have higher scoring than the rest of the industries, or some locations would have higher scoring than the others, or some company sizes or headcounts would have higher scoring. Right. So that's the bucket of the ICP fit. The second bucket is your product qualification, right? That's basically you would look at the different different actions within your product that you deem are important, and you start scoring them, right? So sign up is one activity. I don't know, launching a campaign is an activity, or deploying something is an activity, or creating a listing, whatever the actions within the product, you basically track and score all of these actions, so you can then have some form of qualification. And then finally, you have your marketing qualification, right? So any interaction with your marketing activities, like for example, someone visiting a page on the website, an important page on the website, someone downloading some resource, someone opening marketing emails, attending a webinar, conducting a search on your website. All of these are actions, or we can call them marketing actions, that you can also score. Right? So basically, your qualification tool or system, and there are tools out there that do all of that. Like for example, Pocus is a tool that does that. MadKudu is another tool that does that. But you can also hack this yourself if you have some form of event tracking and maybe sending those events to your CRM. There are ways to do different ways to do that. But basically, what you end up with is a system that is able to score and qualify users across these three different buckets: how they fit your recipe, how they are engaged inside your product, and how they interact with your marketing material. And that's going to be very easy for you then to know from, let's say, 1,000 users, which ones have the highest qualification at the highest scoring. And those are the ones that you would prioritize in terms of monetization, in terms of upselling, in terms of just getting more monetization. All right, let's go to the last exercise, guys. We're almost there. I know you're starting to zone out, but you got the last 15 minutes. Okay. When would you consider an account qualified for your sales team to chase? Okay. That's in the case of B2B. In the case of B2C, you can think of when would you consider a user, let's say, valuable, or you would put them in a high value user. Try to think of product or marketing qualification. Okay, one thing, guys, as you're thinking about this, just consider that we're looking at marketing or product qualification. Okay, so for example, any changes that happen to the company outside of your product, we wouldn't consider that for this exercise, right? So try to think of what actions they would be doing inside your product, or what interactions are they having with your marketing activities, and basically what would you consider as qualified based on just these two? All right, who would like to present? And please, before you present, just let me know which one is it, and we can look at it together.
I can. It's Alan here from Beja. The
Okay.
one that's just stopped now says certain salary bracket.
Okay.
So as a reminder, we're the rent to buy company. So for now, I'm talking about the top of funnel and how you try and once they've gone through various social media and how they've tried to come onto our platform and interact with us. So we try and have that interaction with them. So we might initially, to get them into the top of funnel, we'll ask them very little questions. It's just here's tell us your number, and we'll start chatting, and then they may have a very high level interest. Tell me more about your product type thing. And those could be competitor products or anything, right? It could just be people just not really that interested. So we then try and ask certain questions, effectively to see their interest, but also we send them out a marketing brochure that has these frequently asked questions on there. If they then reply with some specific questions, that really highlights that they've hopefully got it and they're interesting for us to really ramp it up. So we try and automate that top bit as much as possible, and then focus on people who seem to fit our ideal profile.
Got it. So the first part, the certain salary bracket, that's an ICP fit criteria, and then the rest are marketing interactions with your marketing, correct? Would there be any activities inside the product that you would consider when you're qualifying a user? So let's say viewing more than X number of listing, whatever it is.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I would say for us at this stage anyway, the core product is more the marketing and then a core product. So a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today, whether it's retention or whatever, is really on that sort of the funnel, that rather than the core product, because the core product we've got 100% retention, right? So because they're locked in for that period. So it's more for
On the rental.
that initial onboarding stage.
Got it. All right. Thanks, Alan. Let's take one more. Who would like to present?
Can I come once again?
Yeah.
Mine.
Which one is it?
At the very beginning, the second one. No? Yeah, if you were interested in a call. Because for me, it's like we do everything by direct sales, and maybe indirect that may be seen as marketing as us on the conferences or on like some events that we do not directly go to our customers. But then they will connect to us and ask for a demo or ask for a call. That is straight to the sales team.
Gotcha. So one thing that in the case of a sales-led motion, like in this case, one thing you could potentially do, because I would imagine that let's say you speak to 20 prospects, let's say. Probably not all 20 obviously are ready to buy from you right now. So the ones that are not ready to buy, you can have some form of a kind of like a nurturing, let's say, email sequence or spent over, I don't know, 3 months. That basically just sends them every week, let's say, a resource or something that could be valuable. So then you can score and qualify based on the interactions with the nurturing campaign itself. So you can so let's say out of 50, let's say, prospects I've spoken to, and all of them have entered into a nurturing campaign. After, let's say, a month, you would be able to pinpoint out of those 50 which ones have been opening your emails and clicking on the links and engaging, yada, yada, yada. So that can be one layer of qualification that can give you an idea that these guys are more, let's say, more interested in your content at least. So that would be kind of like a marketing qualification.
Okay, but like, can I get the time? By nurturing for us, what it could be like, because they cannot touch the product unless we sign with them and we integrate with them. So the only thing we could do, I don't know, maybe send newsletters or something to their emails, or
Yeah, so one thing, because the word newsletter typically is attached to kind of useless content that no one cares about. But let's think of it as when that nurturing campaign, you can try and make the messages in those emails maybe that have usable, valuable stuff. So let's say, I don't know, a guide, 10, I don't know, checklist of 10 things as a hotel manager you should do, yada, yada, yada. Let's say a Google spreadsheet with some form of interactive calculator for something. Maybe a little video screenshot, a video walkthrough of one part of your product. So things like that, basically things that would be usable, as opposed to, just a message that, I don't know, kind of generic. But you can probably brainstorm and try and think of ways that you can help them. And it can be things like, so it doesn't have to be related to your core product, but it can also be related to the overall use case, like what a hotel manager cares about generally, as if that's your decision maker, let's say. um, and include that in the nurturing campaign. Great, thanks, Idana. All right, we have come to the end, guys. We have made it successfully. We have not lost anyone. Everyone is still here. Amazing. Okay, let's use the last 5 minutes for any questions. Of course, you have the one-to-one mentoring. So if you guys, and the one-to-one mentoring really just is important for then the application of these things and implementation of these things, or just overall questions. So yeah, 5 minutes, shoot.
You've
So
let
Tarek,
them.
what does
Go
the
ahead.
blue pencil do?
Sorry, come again.
What
What
does
does Blue
blue
Pencil
pencil
do? Yeah, so we are an agency that helps B2B companies grow their sales pipeline and increase revenue. So we work with B2B SaaS companies in the Middle East, um, and we help them with their growth efforts.
Cool.
Tarek, do you still believe in automated outbound?
Yeah, very much so. It's taken a huge shift in the past 12 months because of all the new tech that came into it. But yeah, outbound is an important channel that we, for example, when we work with companies, it's one of the important channels that basically fills up the sales pipeline. The thing with outbound though is because it's again over the past 2 or 3 years, it's been very accessible to anyone. Anyone can just go to Apollo, pull a list, and bombard them. So now it's harder to do it right, but when you get it right, you can get definitely good results. So the Apollo approach is not the right, doesn't work anymore. Uh, but outbound just as a channel, yes, if done right, can be quite valuable.
You mean more do it manually?
So you would still use automations, but it would be very targeted. The messaging you would come up with messaging that is more centered around value that the user gets, as opposed to you trying to book a meeting or. But you can still have a lot of automation going on. It's just that you need you need to have checks and balances in place. Um, but yeah.
What's your favorite tool?
So I can't give one tool to be honest, but it will be a combination of things. But one of the tools that a lot of other things would be connected to, so it would kind of like work like your central engine is Clay, but you would need other tools to work with Clay, but Clay can be kind of like your central engine.
Thank you very much for spending the last 2 days with us this week. I'm sure a lot of the startups have benefited from it. A kind reminder, utilize the one-on-ones that you have with Tarek. He's on the mentors page. So go there, you'll find him under the experts field. Book with him. His availabilities are with us until February of 2025. So you barely have enough time with him, I would say. Yani, I hope you do bombard him as much as possible because he is an amazing addition to any type of question that you might have. With that being said, again, thank you very much, Tarek, for the time that you've spent with us, and hope everyone has a great rest of your evening.